Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the first chapter of Exodus. Now, this isn't just an old story. It's a chilling look at how power and fear can cook up a terrifying spiral of oppression. And it all starts, not with some huge war, but with just a whisper of suspicion.
So the big question this chapter really makes you ask is a tough one. How does a group of people, once welcomed and successful, get turned into an enslaved, targeted population? We're going to trace the exact steps, step by insidious step, starting from how they began in Egypt, which, seemed like a pretty good deal at first.
You see, the story doesn't kick off with a nation of slaves. Not at all. It starts with a single family, basically guests in a foreign country, who came to Egypt to escape a famine. And for a long time, they were a huge success story. Just 70 people. That's it. That was the whole clan of Jacob when they first arrived, his sons and their families. I mean, they were a tiny group, no threat to anyone, just a family, really a footnote in the massive Egyptian empire.
But then, over a few generations, something wild happens. This small family just explodes in population. They weren't just getting by, they were absolutely thriving, to the point where it says they filled the land. And ironically, it's this very success that ends up putting a giant target on their backs.
And yeah, you can bet this incredible growth did not go unnoticed. A new pharaoh comes along, a new king who looks out at this booming population and doesn't see an asset for his kingdom. No, he sees a ticking time bomb. And here's the key phrase. This new king knew not Joseph. He had zero connection to the past, to the Israelite who had once saved all of Egypt. He didn't feel any debt or gratitude. All he saw was this other group living within his borders, whose loyalty he doubted and whose numbers were starting to freak him out. So he kicks off a campaign of fear. He gets in front of his own people and says, look, these Israelites, they're becoming a threat to our national security. He totally reframes their success as a danger, inventing this scenario where they might team up with Egypt's enemies. It's a classic political playbook, right? Create a problem to justify the solution you already want. And this leads to a very calculated plan. He doesn't just lash out randomly, it's methodical. First, he says, let's deal wisely with them, which is just a chilling way to say control them. And step one of that control, afflict them, crush them with back-breaking labor. Okay, so stage one is a go. The goal here is pretty simple. 1, break their spirit, and 2, hopefully slow down their birth rate by working them to death. It's basically oppression dressed up as a public works project. The plan goes into effect, and it's brutal. The Israelites are stripped of their freedom and forced into slavery. They basically become state property, building these massive cities, Pithom and Ramses, all under the watch of cruel taskmasters. But here's the crazy part. The plan was a total failure. It completely backfired. The text is super clear about this. The more the Egyptians oppressed them, the more the Israelites grew and multiplied. It's like the pressure, instead of crushing them, was actually forging them into something even stronger. So with Plan A in flames, Pharaoh's paranoia just skyrockets. He shifts gears from economic oppression to something way, way darker. We're talking state-sponsored genocide, carried out in secret. He calls in the Hebrew midwives and gives them a horrifying secret order. He wants them to be his executioners. At the very moment a new life begins, they are told to murder every single newborn boy, basically to snuff out the entire future of the Israelite people. But this is where the whole story turns. We meet the first real heroes of Exodus, and they're not soldiers or kings, they're 2 women, Shiphrah and Puah. Their names are written down forever, a testament to their quiet but incredibly radical act of defiance. And this line tells you everything. They had a choice to make, obey the law of the king or obey a higher moral law. And they chose to fear God, not Pharaoh. In doing that, they committed an act of civil disobedience that literally saved who knows how many lives. So when Pharaoh calls them on the carpet, asking why there are still so many baby boys, they don't fold. They come up with this brilliant excuse, basically using Egyptian stereotypes against them. They say, oh, well, the Hebrew women are just so lively and strong, they give birth before we can even get there. It's such a clever, courageous lie, and it buys them more time. So now Pharaoh has been stopped twice, first by the people's resilience, and now by the midwives' defiance. At this point, the mask just comes off completely. All that secrecy and subtlety, gone.
His genocidal plan is about to become public policy. He issues a decree, not just to his army, but to all his people. Think about that. Every single Egyptian citizen is now ordered to take part in this horror. If they see a newborn Hebrew boy, they are to throw him into the Nile River. He's turning his entire nation into accomplices to murder. And that's where the chapter leaves us, with the people in absolute peril and a tyrant totally consumed by his own rage. This last desperate move sets the stage for everything to come, and it leaves us hanging with a really heavy question. When oppression keeps failing and the evil just gets worse, where on earth can hope possibly come from?